About a year ago, I recorded a podcast about how consuming too much self-help can actually be unhelpful. And I haven't gone back to listen to that episode, so I don't remember exactly what I said or what I touched on, but I think I was talking more about my experience and how I was feeling in life at that moment. And I wanted to touch back on this topic, but talk about actionable things that you can actually do to change your reality. Because I think generally when people are getting into self-help, it's because you're not happy with something in your life or you're wanting to change something. If you're anything like me, I tend to overthink, overanalyze. You almost get stuck in a state of consuming and just taking in more information, which causes you to think more, but not actually take action. Currently, we're still in the year of the snake, which is about shedding, letting go of things that no longer serve us. On February 17th, we move into the year of the horse, and I'm very excited for this because it's a completely different energy. It's forward moving, it's taking action, and I am so ready for this shift. However, all of that being said, we do have free will, and it is up to us to take responsibility for our lives and make things happen for us. That kind of brings us to this episode and talking about things that we can actually do. I would say the overarching main theme of all of these points is basically getting out of your head and into your body. Oftentimes that means slowing down, which can seem very counterintuitive. Sometimes slowing down can actually get you ahead. So the first thing I want to touch on is meditation, breath work, and journaling. I kind of put these all together. For breath work, I really love the app Open. I'll have links to everything that I talk about, by the way, in like show notes, description box, wherever you guys are listening to this. A little while ago, I did the 21-day nervous system reset. They have different programs that you can follow, which I really like because it keeps you more accountable, but you can also just log in and do different guided sessions, like random ones each day. They also have meditations, and I think there's yoga or something. They have like a movement section as well. I haven't gone into that. But yeah, I really love that. I just found it very calming, and it's a great way to quiet your mind. Same goes for meditations. I found a lot of good ones through podcasts and YouTube. You can also just sit in silence and have a silent meditation, but I really find guided meditations to be more helpful for me personally. Or even just having like meditation music in the background. Oh, and another thing that's kind of in this realm that I wanted to mention is subliminals. If you're not familiar with subliminals, they're essentially affirmations that are very quiet, so you can't hear them, and it essentially overrides or like passes your conscious and just goes straight into your subconscious. You can also listen to affirmations as well if you want to hear them. I like to listen to subliminals when I have naps. I don't know why. I've been having naps like almost every afternoon. So I just lay on the couch and I put subliminals on my TV. I've gotten my sister into these as well. There's a few creators that I like. You do have to be careful because if you don't know who's posting, they could be saying evil things in the subliminals. So definitely find someone you trust. I actually just made my own for the first time, and I might post it onto my YouTube channel, like the podcast YouTube channel. So if you guys want to check it out, I just wanted to customize it so I had my own affirmations. And also my podcast YouTube channel is not monetized, so there will be no ads on this video. I don't think, at least, unless YouTube does put them on, but I don't get paid. I don't know. But there'll for sure be no mid-roll ads, which is one of the things that I really don't like about a lot of the subliminals on YouTube, is that if you're listening to it while you sleep, there's like an abrupt ad in the middle and it kind of throws it off. So there are no pre-roll ads, or no mid-roll ads. I don't know if YouTube puts pre-rolls on anyways. Yeah. You can listen to them when you're sleeping. They work better that way, but you can also just put them on in the background. I also put mine to, I think it's like 437 hertz or something. It's like a specific frequency that is supposed to calm you so that you're in a more relaxed state to listen to the subliminals. And then journaling was the other thing that I mentioned. I like to do this first thing in the morning, and I was actually following The Artist Way. This book has been around for a long time. I feel like it recently became popular again, or maybe it's always been popular. I don't know. But I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of it, especially if you are in like the self-help space. Shoot, I just lost my page. But anyways, it's a 12-week program. It is a course in discovering and recovering your creative self. It's supposed to help you get through creative blocks, get re-inspired. And I feel like that's something that I've really been craving and looking for, and this really gives you actionable steps. Basically, you read one chapter each week and it gives you homework. It's a lot of questions where you write out your answers, and then sometimes you're supposed to go out and do things like actionable things. But every day, you're supposed to write 3 pages in the morning, and it's basically a brain dump. So you're not supposed to like go into it trying to think about what you're going to write about. Like there's no topic. You're just supposed to say whatever comes to mind, like a brain dump. A lot of people find the morning pages are the most helpful. So even if you're not interested in reading this book and doing the full 12-week course, definitely try out morning pages. I used to just do 1 page before I got into this because sometimes 3 pages feels like a lot, but I think that's also kind of part of it. I find it usually takes me like 30 minutes to write out my pages. So it is kind of meditative in a way. You're just having 30 minutes to yourself in the morning to kind of get your day started. And it helps just get random thoughts out of your head. It's also interesting looking back. I don't often go back and read pages, but sometimes if you just skim through, you really notice how often you are thinking about or worried about or just like talking about the same things. And I do think there is something about writing out your thoughts. It helps you stop overthinking it in your head. I only got to the 6-week mark, and then I had a bunch of travel happen for work and it really threw me off. So I feel like I should restart it. My next point is energy drainers and energy givers. I recommend taking out a pen and paper for this one. Ask yourself, what are things you're doing every day that drains your energy, doesn't make you feel good, or maybe just feels like a waste of time? Like, what are you spending too much time on that's not moving the needle? Write down 5 things that are energy drainers, and these are things that you want to eliminate as best as you can, even if it's just for a time period. Like, tell yourself 1 week, see how you feel by the end of the week, and then maybe you will feel inspired to continue. But I think having a time frame feels a little bit more realistic. I'll share mine with you in case this helps you get some ideas, but I said doom scrolling. There's actually a setting on your phone called downtime. I find that really helpful because it blacks out your apps for a day and you can actually pick which ones you want to keep open. So I always leave like my text, my phone, emails. I actually find that I'm not distracted by most of my apps. It's mainly just Instagram and TikTok. So those are the main ones that I black out. You can also get a brick. I don't have one of those and I don't fully understand how they work, but I think it's a similar thing. But yeah, it's just like it stops you from using things on your phone. I also said too much sugar and or alcohol. I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Ruminating on crushes. Luckily, I'm not talking to anyone right now and I don't have a crush, but I do find that if I am chatting with someone or I have a crush on someone, it takes up way too much of my brain space. And so when I do end up dating again, that's going to be something that I'm going to be very mindful of. And I've heard some people talk about this where they give themselves a time block each day where they're allowed to think about that person. And then if you catch yourself thinking about them through other points of the day, you have to just say no and like distract yourself. I have never personally tried that, but if you find you are currently ruminating on someone, maybe give that a go. Number 4 was thinking about future bills and tasks, which I actually want to touch on another aspect of that in a second. I also said over explaining myself, and then mess, which maybe that's 6, but anyways. And then going back to the future bills and tasks, I find if there's something that I know I need to do that I really don't want to do, I tend to put it off, and then I just end up thinking about it for a longer period of time. And if I had just taken care of it and gotten it out of the way, it would be way better. And I know that, and I still put things off. Tax season is a prime example of this. We're going into tax season right now, and I always leave it to the last minute because I don't want to look at it. I don't want to do it, but then I just end up stressing about it. Another thing I had as well was my car repair. I just have some hefty maintenance that needs to get done, and beyond the payment, like the thousands of dollars that I'm going to have to pay, it's also just a hassle. I have to take it in, and I don't think, like, I'm not going to have my car for a day or two, which is just annoying. And like, these aren't even huge problems. They're just things you have to do in life. But again, just like getting these things done sooner than later, you're going to have energy to do other things. So that is my list of energy drainers. And then on the flip side, you want to make a list of 5 things that bring you energy, charge you up, make you happy, make you feel good. My list was a workout routine and just like staying active, inspiring content. Even though we are eliminating doom scrolling, I don't think that social media and eliminating all social media is necessarily good or something you need to do. If I am following the right people and consuming the right content, it actually can be beneficial to me and positive inspiring. So just making sure, or like being more aware, conscious of like what content you are consuming. I also said socializing with inspiring people. So just having good people around you, good relationships, people that you look up to, you respect. Upbeat music. I mean, this kind of goes back to the whole subliminals and affirmations thing. When you are listening to something over and over and over again, you are actually reprogramming your mind. So music is a tool you can use to change your mood, first of all, but also change your beliefs. So most of the time I do listen to more upbeat music and songs with more positive lyrics. I think there's a time and a place to listen to sad music, but it can just keep you in a sad state if you're already feeling sad. I also find it really interesting, like if you look at different types of people, or like if you see people who listen to certain types of music, it's like you can kind of put people in different categories based on the music they listen to, is what I'm trying to say. Anyways, this is kind of getting us off topic. It's just like kind of interesting. And then the last thing I said was new exciting opportunities and experiencing new things or learning new things. Basically just like new things. And this kind of rolls into my next point, which is get out of the house. If you're somebody who's self-employed or you work from home, this is a really big one because you obviously spend a lot more time at home. I'm challenging myself to work remotely more this year, going to cafes. There's a cafe at my gym that I work from sometimes. And I also want to find projects where I can work with other people on things. I haven't really like fully figured out how that's going to look, but I do love working on projects with other people. Just like a lot of my work is solo, but yeah, just getting out of the house, putting yourself in different environments around different people. You never know like what might occur. And then the last point I have here, which is kind of obvious, but take care of yourself, like good nutrition, fuel your body, stay active. Sometimes the gym is the highlight of my day because I love getting in a good workout, but I also just like being around other people. Like this morning I did a Pilates class and I don't even really talk to anyone in my class. It's just nice being in a room with other people and like there's still a sense of community even if you're not talking. But even when I do my workouts like on the gym floor, it's just nice to be around people and like people who have a similar interest to you. Like I don't go there with the goal to network, but you never know who you might end up chatting with, and maybe you make a new friend, romantic connection, business connection. Like you just never know when you're going to meet somebody that could totally change your life. So that is my list of recommended actions to take to actually change your life. I know these might seem basic in general, but I always say is like if you're trying to force something to happen and you're trying to find answers, it's generally not when you're finding answers. I really think the key is to just be in the present moment, get out of your head, get outside, enjoy life, do things that bring you joy. And that is when things start to flow. That's when you're going to be attracting the right people, the right opportunities, and that's when inspiration really comes to you. And then another piece to this as well, which is obviously very important, but taking inspired action. So it's like when you do feel inspired, actually take action. Hopefully this was helpful to someone out there. I am recording this podcast just as much for me as it is for you. So this is just a little reminder, hopefully a little bit of inspiration. And if you're listening to this when it's released, you still have a couple weeks before the year of the horse starts. So get rid of things you don't need, things that aren't serving you, whether that's habits, routines, thought patterns, beliefs, stuff, people. Sometimes you got to clear out the stale energy to make room for new. Thank you guys so much for listening. I don't know if the podcast is fully back. I'm honestly just dipping my toes in, feeling it out. I'll see how the response is. Do you guys want more episodes? Let me know. Comment, rate, subscribe, like. I don't know what all the actions are, but if you are interested, I would really appreciate it if you guys interact in some way because that lets me know. And yeah, maybe see you guys again soon here. If not, I'm always active on YouTube and Instagram. It's just my full name, Melissa Merk, on those platforms. So if not here, I will see you guys in another corner of the internet very soon. Bye-bye.